Hello and welcome to Triathlonology, a triathlon podcast by Animis racing team. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Jacqui. We are a mum and son coaching team who have changed our lives through the sport of triathlon.
Our podcast aims to break down the mysteries of triathlon training and show you, the listener, how simple and flexible it can be, so that it really does become part of your lifestyle and not just a hobby. Hello and welcome to Triathlonology, a triathlon podcast by Animis racing team.
I'm Jacqui Saxon.
And I'm Oliver Saxon, and together we're a mum and son coaching team based in North Lancashire and South Yorkshire, and this podcast gives out our straightforward Yorkshire-style direct advice about triathlon and our thoughts on triathlon as a whole.
Yeah, sometimes a bit controversial, I would say, but we always speak the truth.
Where are we going to start? We have been doing Learn to Swim Front Crawl for Triathlon with another batch of athletes, where that's another 9 people who completed the course and can all swim 25 metres front crawl for triathlon. Mm-hmm. And we have had our Monday nights have been a bit fuller, haven't they? Because we've had extra athletes come in, which we'll talk about shortly, for swimming there.
Yeah. So much so we've got a waiting list for Monday nights.
Yes, we have. Yes, which is good news. It's always up and down. But into the new year, hopefully a good start.
Yeah.
We've taken on some more athletes on for online coaching.
Yeah, we definitely
so
have.
Hello, if you are listening, if you are one of those new athletes and you're listening to this for the first time, thank you very much. We will look after you and make sure that you reach your triathlon goals over the next period that you're training with us.
Yeah, next 12 months really. I think the big news for us as triathlon fans was when Ali Brownlee announced his retirement. But we've got to say, we were both not surprised, are we, Oliver?
No, and to be perfectly honest, it's probably about a year later than I thought it would be. But Alistair Brownlee is a serial winner and doesn't train as hard as he does to struggle for third place.
No, and you think...
Or less.
Yeah, and does he need it? No,
he doesn't need to keep putting his body through it and breaking himself when, he's won 2 Olympic gold medals. He's one of the greatest ever triathletes.
Yeah.
There comes a point where life and time catches up with you, and everything moves on. And do you want to keep putting yourself through all that effort, injury, recovery, getting better again, to not achieve your standard that you have set for yourself, which is at least finishing on a podium in races? There was a point in ITU races where I don't think he'd been off a podium for 3 years or something.
No, that's right, Oliver. You're right.
Might even be longer than that. If you're listening, fact checkers, because I'm sure it was a long time. In fact, you carry on talking about. I'll have a look how long you were on a podium for.
Oh well, both of them were really. When you think about it, but Ali's just got that. He's just got that. You can't. It's something innate within you, that will to win and never give up. That can't fault the fella for that. I mean, he sometimes had dubious tactics, but he always gave his all.
Well, it's because he wanted to win.
Yeah. Have you found out yet, Oliver?
No.
Well, we'll have to put it in the show notes.
Yeah. No, it doesn't say. I mean, Commonwealth gold medalists, relay medalists, everything. There's nothing. Only thing Ali didn't win were when he went to long course, but that's probably because his training regime took such a toll on his body by the time
he went to long
course that he just wasn't able to put together enough consistent training for a longer course.
Yeah, because it's not about so much speed; it's about endurance and being able to keep going. So, I mean, he'd be able to keep going a bit because his mind wouldn't let him stop, but his body would.
Yes, and that's the difference between finishing in top 10 and being at the top. And he ain't interested in being in top 10, is he?
No.
Some people just don't have that, just have a mindset where they're not interested in anything other than winning. And I think of a few Wednesday players who are like that. And I know that's not saying very much. But, like Danny Rowe, Josh Windass, Barry Bannon, they don't want to finish 12th, do they?
No.
They're not interested in that. I mean, they may end up finishing 12th.
Which would be a good result.
Yes, but they're not trying to finish 12th. The same with Ali Brownlee. He's don't want to finish 10th at 70.3 World Championships
Nope.
or 5th at T100, does he? He wants to finish on
No.
podium and win. So I completely understand why he's called it a day, and he's had his other role that's been going off for the last year with the Olympics and as an athlete ambassador. That'll have took some of his time up, and maybe he's found race organising. Maybe he's just decided that actually he's enjoyed that more over the last few years.
Yeah.
Because he's been able to do that consistently.
Yeah, rather than
when he's been injured, it's given him something to do.
Something to focus on. And by all accounts, he's really really good for the Olympics. So can't knock the man, can you?
No. Seb Coe, watch out. I can't think Ali Bramley will be unluckiest man in sports management.
No.
Like Seb Coe, bless him, who didn't realise that there were bribery going on in IOC or in FIFA, and he just happened to be on both at the same time, and he didn't know that. Unfortunate for him.
Well.
Yes, potentially another sports administrator there for us for a number of years.
Yeah.
With some clout around the world.
Yeah. And brains to go match.
Julie Derren has continued her excellent run of form.
Yep, and I actually watched Julie win, well, come second, from my sick bed. So I was watching it on my phone in between falling asleep.
But she's well and truly out of the shadows now, isn't she? And certainly over an Olympic and middle distance is definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
It's much more difficult at sprint because it's just basically a wet run, isn't it? But at Olympic distance you can get some effort in, but certainly at middle distance, 70.3 T100s now, Julie is going to be a force to reckon with, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's great because it gets them some money. Because, rather than in IT we don't get anything, well, not really. So, yeah, good on her.
And her sisters have been doing middle distance racing for a bit.
Yeah.
So at least she's got someone to she has got the best coaches in the world to guide her, but from a interfamilial basis, people who are close to her are going to know where it takes and what it's like racing at that distance.
Yeah.
So good for her. And then, Mum's been poorly for several weeks. She's still not right now. What have you had wrong with you?
Oh, just a bit of pneumonia.
Did you tell anybody you got this?
No.
No. Should you have told somebody you got this?
No.
Yes. Yes, you should.
Oh.
Well, we knew there was something wrong. 2 weeks into for the second week in a row, you were sat in the kitchen having your tea after we'd done swim coaching on a Thursday, and you got your coat on and were shivering with fever.
I know.
That were as Sherlock Holmes would say, that was your first clue.
True.
That there was something seriously wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's been sorted now, so.
Have you had any more antibiotics?
No.
Have you been back to the doctors?
No.
You probably ought to.
No. I have been following everybody's instructions.
Apart from going to doctors.
Yeah, but you can't count that. I've not done, well, to be perfectly honest, I have had no desire to go training. None, and I will just getting to be really nice and consistent, and then kapung, that happens. But this week, it was the first time I've actually felt like, oh yeah, maybe I might be able to do something, feel a bit more like myself. And Coach Susie said, try a 30-minute walk. I thought, walk? Come on. Anyway, I did. Went out at lunchtime because it was quite a reasonable day in the UK, i.e. not raining.
Or snowing.
And after 30 minutes, when I got back to work, I had to have a lay down on a settee. I was so tired, couldn't believe it.
Well, pneumonia will do that to you.
But what I'm saying is, you shouldn't rush back.
No. Slowly, steadily. While I haven't had pneumonia, I have had whatever illness gave me mum pneumonia, because everybody's had it in our house, literally everybody. And it's horrible because it's a proper respiratory virus or bacterial infection, one or the other, and it blocks your nose for weeks. It gives you a smoker's cough well past you, so you start feeling all right, then you just got this hacking cough that anytime we try and do anything, even light stuff, you're just hacking phlegm up all the time. It's grim. So I've only just been able to start getting back to training this week properly, having cleared it all out over 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, so just don't. It's a long season. You can make yourself a lot worse.
This time, like, Christmas is coming, and it's much better to be well and fit for Christmas, so you have a nice time with your family, than doing some training when you're not really anywhere near fit enough to do it, and making yourself, and just delaying your recovery, so it impacts on all the fun stuff and the social things that you might want to do over the next month or so, because it is, wherever you are in the world, Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
And there'll be all sorts of Christmas parties and other events to go to all Christmas week for seeing your family and your friends.
Yeah, so...
Make sure you're fit for that.
Yeah.
Being fit for life is more important than being fit for triathlon.
That's a good saying. Should have it on a t-shirt.
We should, as long as make triathlon great again, or whatever we're calling it. We should get that on an hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fit for life more important than fit for triathlon. It is, isn't it? Like, if you can't... Triathlon's an hobby, we say this all the time. That if you can't do life, because you've either overtrained yourself, which I've been guilty of in the past, and like, you can't manage your job and everything else that goes with it, or it's all consuming everything else, and so you're not necessarily overtraining physically, but it's taking over your life. You're not fit for life, are you?
No.
And it's got to enhance your life, your ordinary life, your normal life, rather than detract from it, which is something we tell as athletes all the time. We've moved offices, Title Law Solicitors has moved offices. That's been somewhat of an upheaval, but that's happened now, and we're getting settled in. So you'll see, when we get back to recording on an evening before swimming, you'll see a different background. If you watch this on Instagram or YouTube or wherever you see it, you'll see a different background that'll look a bit different to what you normally sit on, because that's where...
I never thought of that.
That's our usual podcast recording studio.
It certainly is.
So
we were talking swimming, and Monday nights we've had
a group of 6 young men, lads. I don't know if you can say that phrase. That's a thing. Young men. You will be broadcasters and call them young men.
Yes.
Who were revelling at a wedding, shall we say?
Yeah.
And decided that they would then enter an Ironman.
There and then.
Or some of them have only entered, some of them have entered the 70.3, the same event. So either the selection of 6 of them are either doing a full Ironman or a half Ironman at Emilia Romagna in September next year. And they have got in touch with us to help them with the swimming. Yeah. Because that is something that they... apart from 2 of them, really struggled with, but within 4 weeks.
No, 3.
Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks. 3 or 4 weeks. Everybody else who was struggling at the start isn't anymore. They can swim competently 50 metres, and now it's just a question of building their fitness up.
It is, and ensuring that they take better strokes.
And we somewhat compared it to the other learn to swimmers. Yeah. It was like a interesting experiment in, well, you got these
demographics, really.
Yeah. So you got these 3 chaps who are in their late 20s, early 30s. And then our usual demographic for learn to swimmers tend to be 50 plus. Yes. And for reasons we can only speculate on, our younger chaps have progressed faster than our older swimmers. And it's not because they don't do a job where they don't have to think. No. Because they all have responsible jobs and have been to university. So there's not that, because that's not the differential between our other swimmers, because they've got the same thing. Yeah.
We just wonder, is it because of our learned experience and our... What's the word I'm thinking about? Our attitude to learning.
Maybe. Or, and I wonder if this is a factor in it, but you'll never really be able to measure it. If you have learned another sport or played other sports as younger adults or children, Are you more coachable and susceptible to taking on ideas about coaching and listening to how to do things than if you haven't when you were younger?
Yes.
Because
my
inference, although I've not checked, is that probably most of these chaps have played rugby or football, certainly, as they've been growing up.
So they'll have all been to clubs.
You all go to football training or rugby training, and you learn a skill and what have you, and you learn how to do not that we do drills, but you learn how to perform movements and do intricate body movements and what have you, and you just don't think about it because you just follow the example and do it. And it's interesting because I wonder if that's the difference between people who pick it up faster than people who don't, in that those who don't haven't necessarily done sport as a youngster, and so they don't have those
listening skills
or learned behaviours that you just pick up as a child because you think, oh, someone's telling me it follows a set of neural pathways. Neural pathways in a triathlon podcast that if you haven't done it aren't quite the same, or you have more of a reluctance to learning a new sport because you never really liked learning sport when you were a youngster.
Because you probably got a negative. Most people do triathlon. They've had a negative experience of sport at school.
Yes, but they have a positive experience of triathlon, but that doesn't necessarily reflect backwards.
Exactly.
So is it something that happens in those formative years where you just learn how to play a sport or follow instructions in a way and just get on with it?
Yeah.
Is it that then carries you forwards? I don't know. I mean, we ain't got time to run an experiment about this.
No, we haven't, and it's a bit deep.
It is, but it's interesting. So if anybody has any ideas about that philosophical discussion or wants to contribute to that, then get in touch with the show and we'll have a think about it, and we'll we'll have a discussion of it on the next episode or episode in future, because there's got to be a reason.
Yeah, I think you might be. Oh, but somebody might have done a study in it. I bet there is. There'll be a PhD somewhere done in it.
I wonder whether Matt Shaw would have any idea on this. He used to be a sports lecturer and coach at North Lindsay College. He does a professorship in Norway now, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. We'll ask him.
Yes, we'll ask Matt. Or we might get him to appear as a guest on the podcast and ask him about it, because his thing is coaching, his doofus. So, yeah, interesting. What else have we been up to?
Not a lot really, because, apart from getting these lads swimming and
teaching us other later swimmers and getting them to complete it. We've onboarded a few new athletes.
And just gearing ourselves up, aren't we, really?
I went to Portugal.
Yeah, you did.
For a work trip. But as a result of that work trip, have put things, or we've got ideas that we can bring into our holiday now.
Yeah.
Because we found somewhere we can go for a quiz as a team.
Yeah, we have, And
a night out. So, night out as far as we go. We're not exactly raucous, are we?
No.
We'll be in bed by 9:30.
Yeah. That's late.
Yes, well, it is when you're up at 6 o'clock to go coaching and what have you. It's a long day.
It is a long day.
It is, we said before, how mentally exhausting it is. Doing that and then having to switch into his day jobs.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a lot.
So
we're now approaching, as we talked about at the beginning of it, the run up to Christmas, and we will be, and because our Learn to Swim's finished, we should have a few more availabilities to do.
A few more podcasts. So we will go back to doing them and bringing you a bit more of a discussion podcast and as we're going along. We talked in the last time we were going to go to the AGM and we didn't go to that. I think we explained why.
Yeah, but nothing's happened since, as far as I can tell. Although I did see on the forum that there was a meeting about how the regional committees could help events organisers a bit better. But I think largely it's not really going to help because they've got no power.
No.
Because I think I saw people say, mainly stop date clashing with other events near us, and you think, yeah, that'd be ace. But what's regional committee going to do as a sanction if you don't? So it's like a watchdog with no teeth.
Yeah, we'll come across a few of them. Okay,
Yes.
so that's about it for this week.
Yeah, I don't think it's been a shorter episode because it's been only a brief update. But we shall be back next week with a more full episode talking about stuff that's happening in triathlon.
Yeah.
Or coaching.
Yeah,
one or
probably
the
coaching.
Yes.
Probably both.
Probably both, yes. So, until next time, we'll civvy.
Thank you for joining us today.
See you next time.
See you then, or as we say in Yorkshire, civvy.